Life, on the other hand, makes no demands. Life is opportunity. No matter what your existence is like, you always have an opportunity. Life. Life is buoyant. It doesn't take, it gives. It's not embarrassing. It's noble. Life is not what you need. Life is what you can do in spite of your needs. You know that when you have a question and you get an answer, sometimes the answer is satisfying. It resolves the question, and you have no more question. Other times, you get the answer, but the question doesn't completely go away. But when you have one answer that resolves many questions, that rings with truth. That sounds real. That's convincing. That's compelling. Einstein spent his life trying to find one answer for all the questions. So let's try this tonight. Bunch of questions that don't seem to be related at all resolved with one answer. Of course, the opening question is, how is it possible to love someone but not like them? It's common, but to understand it, if someone is good enough to love, what's not to like? And if they're not even likable, how'd you get to love them? So we need to understand this phenomenon. How do we get so divided in our hearts that we can actually love someone and not like them? Or worse, you can love someone and hate them. How does this happen? How does this work? Maybe if we understood it properly, we could get to like the people we love, which would be nice, because you can't get rid of them, because you love them. But I have another question. Why is it that for 5,000 years we have been asking the same question over and over and over? The question is, why are we here? First of all, if you can't find an answer in 5,000 years, maybe we should just give it up and stop asking the question. Enough already. Secondly, what is the question? Why are we here? Do you know of any other place? Is there someplace else you'd rather be? So what's the question? If you find yourself in a certain place for 5,000 years, you get used to it. And you stop asking, why are we here? Where else should we be? Why are we uncomfortable with our own presence? But I have another question. Everybody marvels at the miracle of Jewish survival. How is it that the Jewish people are still here and still Jewish? How is this possible? After all we've been through, despite all odds, we are here. Or as a famous writer once said, other nations have come and made a vast noise, and now they are lost in the backwaters of history. And the Jew is still here, showing no signs of infirmity. Not only are we still here, we don't even look like we're getting older. So everybody marvels at this mystery. Nobody gives us an answer. How is it that we're still here? What is the secret of our longevity? But I have another question. What is the virtue of humility? It's such a big deal made of it in Jewish life, in Jewish teachings, in Jewish philosophy. Humility is very important. In fact, on Yom Kippur, we, in the prayers over and over again, we basically deprecate ourselves. We are nothing. What is a human being anyway? We are just a passing cloud, like a dream, like a smoke that dissipates. We are nothing before we're born. We're nothing when we're born. We're nothing after we die. What is all this? This is good. Rambam actually says that in all things we should be moderate. The middle path. Not too much to the right, not too much to the left. That is wisdom. That is the wise man's path. Except when it comes to humility. When it comes to humility, we shouldn't be moderate. We should be extremely humble. To the extreme. Why is that good? Modern psychology tells us that we need to have a high self-image. That's good. That's healthy. And yet we're told that humility is an important virtue and that we should be extremely humble. What is the advantage? What's good about being humble? But I have another question. My question is this. Why is it that if you fall down a flight of stairs, you end up in the hospital? That's not the question. But that's only if you fall down the flight of stairs while you're sober. If you fall down the same flight of stairs when you're drunk, you get up and you keep walking. Why is that? These are deep questions. But I have another question. What is depression? What does it mean that a person is depressed? He's physically healthy, all the tests come back fine, but he's depressed. What is that? We really don't understand depression, and that's why we haven't found a cure. Maybe if we could understand it better, we could actually find a cure. What is depression? But I have another question. How many do we have so far? What's the difference? Don't count. I have another question. What in the world is wrong with teenagers? What is their problem? I can understand their frustrations. I can understand their insecurities. I don't understand their anger. What are they angry about? What have they got to be angry about? We give them everything for free. And they walk around angry. What is their problem? I have another question. What is death? What does it mean that something lives and then it dies? It doesn't make sense. That which is alive can't die any more than that which is dead can come alive. Dead is dead, alive is alive. How can life die? How can salt go bad? So what does it mean when a person dies? I have another question. What is this thing about Shabbos? It's a strange commandment. All the commandments, or most of them, have some kind of productivity to them. Honor your parents, give charity. It's constructive, productive. What is Shabbos? The exact opposite. One day out of every week, don't do anything useful. Don't cook, don't build, don't fix, don't sew, don't write, don't buy, don't sell. What? A day in which you are not productive at all? This is good? I mean, do we really need a vacation every week? Maybe when they were traveling in the desert, they needed a break. But we live a pretty comfortable life. In fact, on Shabbos, we're restless. We want to work. Well, not at our job. But we want to be productive. We want to do things. So what is this idea of taking a day off and do nothing? But I have one more question for you. Why is it in Jewish tradition that before we take a drink, we say l'chaim, to life? What, is it so dangerous to take a drink? That you have to stop and hope for life? If it's that dangerous, maybe you shouldn't take the drink. Like the comedian who says, who invented helmets? What is a helmet for? If you're doing something that dangerous that you need a helmet, don't do it. So if drinking is that dangerous where you have to wish yourself l'chaim, to life, then maybe you shouldn't take the drink. Now, there were times in history where you never trusted the drink you were offered because they would poison the drinks. So they developed a custom that if somebody offered you a drink and made a toast, you exchanged glasses. You weren't going to drink what they gave you. You drink what he's going to drink. Let him drink this. Because they poisoned drinks. When they stopped poisoning drinks, they maintained part of that custom. You know, when you make a toast, you move your glass towards each other and you touch glasses. That's what's left over from the time when you would actually exchange the glasses. But that was not a Jewish thing. In Jewish society, in Jewish tradition, in Jewish culture, you didn't have to worry about the drink being poisoned. Because if a Jew wants to kill another Jew, he'll find some other way to do it. He's not going to ruin a good drink just to kill somebody. So the one thing we knew for sure was that the schnapps was okay. Why do we say l'chaim? To life. There are other occasions on which we should say l'chaim. Kind of makes sense. Before you get on a plane, it'd be a good idea to say l'chaim. Before you cross a bridge in Minnesota, it would be a good idea to say l'chaim. But before you take a drink, what's the problem? Okay, enough with the questions. One answer to all of the above. The answer is this. When God created the world out of nothing, he had to create two things: existence and life. He had to create existence because nothing existed. There was nothing. And then he gave all these things that now exist a life. Everything in the physical world exists and has a life. Two things. A stone exists, water exists, fire exists, air exists. And they all exist the same way. Because the definition of existence, what does it mean that this thing is here? It is. What does it mean it is? I know it's tall, I know it's solid, but what does it mean it is? Existence, scientifically and Kabbalistically as well, the definition of existence is it takes up space. Something is by virtue of the fact that it takes up space. It occupies its space. If you can have two books on the shelf in the same place, then those books don't exist. A book on a shelf takes up space. You cannot put another book in that space. Everything exists by that definition. A rock exists, it takes up space. Water exists because it takes up space. Air exists because it takes up space. Even a thought takes up space. Your mind is preoccupied. You can't have two thoughts at the same time. Emotions take up space. Your heart is full. You have two conflicting emotions, they fight for the space. Then things have life. The life of a stone is very different than the life of water. Because life means the function and purpose of this existence. So it exists by taking up space, and it lives by fulfilling a function. Water runs downhill. Fire rises. Stones don't move. They have different functions. So they exist and they live. Now, of course, the creature that is most alive is the human being. So here's the thing. I exist and I live. I have an existence and I have a life. My existence is I take up space. I need my own space. If I'm sitting in a chair, nobody else can sit there. I take up space. I exist. Then I have a life. My life is the function and the purpose for which I take up space. Now here's a problem. What is good for my existence isn't always good for my life. And what is good for my life isn't always good for my existence. So I find myself in conflict. Just for example, if we can be honest and open about this. The fact that you are all here at the Chabad house, the fact that you're all present in this room, makes me very uncomfortable. And I resent your being here, frankly. Because I could have been here by myself and had the whole room to myself. And then my existence would have been very comfortable and bigger. To be one person out of 50, out of 60, I mean, what kind of existence is that? You're cramping my space. This town ain't big enough for the two of us. So I really resent the fact that you're here. You make me very uncomfortable. You're not good for my existence. But on the other hand, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Because speaking to an empty room is a little crazy. It's not a life. So the fact that you're here makes my life better. But it makes my existence worse. So I don't know whether I should love you or hate you. I don't know what to do. So basically I end up loving you for being here because you make my life, but I don't like you because of what you do to my existence. And we're not even married. Now imagine a husband and wife who really share the same space all the time. How can you do that? On the one hand, you love each other because without each other you have no life. It's true. But then you start to crowd each other's space and you don't like each other. That's how it happens. That's why it happens. Now, if we understood the difference between existence and living, it would solve so many problems. Why do we ask that eternal question for 5,000 years, over and over again? Why are we here? Every human being asks it. Some people take it very seriously, some people ask it casually, but it's a question we all ask. The reason is simple. If you're even a tiny bit sensitive, you have to be uncomfortable about the fact that you exist, because it's embarrassing. I exist. Really? What does that mean? It means you can't sit in my chair. That sounds so childish. I take up space. Really? Now there's a talent. There's something to be proud of. You take up space better than anybody else takes up space. You're really good at it. You take up space. You hear children arguing about this, and it's so embarrassing. I was here first. Don't touch me. It's mine. What is that? It's so depressing. My children were arguing once. They were 6 or 7 years old. And I hear them from across the house. And one of them is saying, "It's my bed." And the other one says, "No, it's my bed." So I walk into the room, and like a mature adult, I said, "Excuse me, it's my bed." "How did it get to be your bed? You're 6. It's my bed. Is that what human existence is all about? It gets worse. Not only does my existence take up space and therefore not allow you to be in my space, my existence also makes other demands. In order to exist, I have to eat. To exist, I have to sleep. To exist, I have to have a house of my own. And I need it to be secure. And I need to be protected from you, because you violate my space. In fact, all human needs come from existence. It is so demanding. So by its very nature, to exist is embarrassing and a little depressing, because it's heavy. It's heavy, it's exhausting. Now, if you take your existence seriously, and you start putting energy into it, and you start worrying about it and fighting over it, it gets heavier. And if it reaches a certain point of heaviness, you are depressed. That's where depression comes from. When your existence is too heavy for you to carry. Life, on the other hand, makes no demands. Life is opportunity. No matter what your existence is like, you always have an opportunity. Life. Life is buoyant. It doesn't take, it gives. It's not embarrassing. It's noble. Life is not what you need. Life is what you can do in spite of your needs, beyond your needs, more than your needs. So if we put too much energy into existing, we sap some of our energy out of our life. We put more energy into living, we lighten the burden of our existence. And that's why sometimes the treatment or the advice for a person who's depressed is to stop kvetching, stop belly aching, and go help somebody else. Why does that work? Because then you're switching from worrying about your existence to putting some energy into your life. And that's what humility means. Humility doesn't mean deprecate your life. That's not Jewish at all. In fact, in Jewish thinking, an hour of life is more precious than an eternity in heaven. We never deprecate life. The humility that we're speaking of is the humbling of your existence. Well, that makes sense. Be humble about your existence. Well, of course. What's to be proud of? I've been taking up space for 30 years now. That's not a talent. That's not something to be proud of. On the contrary, humble it. Take up as little space as possible. Use up as few resources as possible. Don't make waves. Humble your existence, not your life. This is the secret to Jewish survival. Other nations wanted to exist. That was their goal. That was their purpose. To build cities, to build empires that will exist forever, will go on forever, will take up the most space. And they're gone. They don't exist at all. We were told when we first became a people, Moshe clued us in. He said, let me tell you what's going to happen and what your history is going to be like. Existence you can forget about. You're not going to have a good existence. You're going to be a minority and you're going to be scattered to the four corners of the heavens and you're going to be abused and you're going to be... So we said, so what's the point? And we were told the point is, you be busy living. Don't worry about existence. You're not going to have much of an existence. Even today, do we exist? Is there a Jewish state in the Middle East? It depends who you ask. Most members of the United Nations will tell you that they never heard of it. They heard of it, but they don't believe it. They believe it, but they don't agree with it. It's there, but it shouldn't be there. We barely exist. And at the same time, we're always in the news. We're always annoying somebody. Or everybody. For a people who don't exist, we sure make a lot of trouble. Now, how does that work? It's because we have learned to put our energy into living. What can I do for you? What can I do today? What is my purpose? Whom can I serve? Who's going to serve me? Nobody. We don't get to exist much. We're busy living. And here's the strange thing. The nations that were determined to exist don't. They're gone. And we made very little effort to ensure our existence. We were busy living, and here we are. We exist. The moral of the story? The less you try to exist, the better your existence. The less you put effort into life, the less life you're going to have. And that's what's wrong with teenagers. Every teenager is angry because my mother ruined my life. It was my life. My mother ruined it. If we could only explain it to them. Your mother doesn't ruin your life. Your mother can't ruin your life for two reasons. First of all, because life can't get ruined, like salt can't go bad. Secondly, you don't have a life. You have a room in your mother's house. You don't have a life. Your clothes are not your own. The bed you sleep in is not yours. The shoes you're wearing are not yours. Your mother gives you your existence. You have yet to make a life. So you can't be angry that your mother ruined your life. It's not true. What then is upsetting the teenagers? Their mother ruins their existence. Well, that's true. Mothers do that. Mothers ruin your existence. They can't help it. When you feel like you exist, and your existence is important, and your existence is big, and you own the whole block, and then your mother walks in. Come on. Your existence takes a dive. It's not yours, it's hers. You exist because she carried you, because she nurtured you, because she took care. You've got to turn your existence over to her. She deserves the credit, not you. Life? Oh, life you got to make on your own. So, if you feel that your mother is ruining your existence, what should your reaction be? Your reaction should be, fine. That's okay. First of all, if you want my existence, take it. Take my existence, please. Because it's an embarrassment anyway. Secondly, if you turn a little bit of your existence over to your mother, that's called honoring your mother. And the reward for that is long life. So if you take a little of your existence and make her existence easier, you get life. That's like charity. Tzedakah. What is the mitzvah? You take a dollar bill, which is good for your existence, and you give it to someone else to make their existence easier. And what do you get? Life. Now you're alive. When you get married, when you say, I do, what are you referring to? When you say, I do, you mean, I surrender my existence to you. You can have my space. You can take my existence. If together we can create a life. A woman gets pregnant. Her existence is over. Her space is not her own. She can't eat what she wants, when she wants, where she wants. She can't sleep when she wants or where. Her existence is over. And that's when she is most alive. A doctor treating patients during a plague. He becomes invulnerable. Superman. He forgets that he hasn't eaten. He forgets that he hasn't taken a break in 48 hours. He forgets that he needs to sleep. And he doesn't get sick. Why? Because he's so alive. His purpose, his function is so evident and it's so visible that his existence becomes unimportant and insignificant. Until the plague is over. And then he's in trouble. So when you give away a little bit of your existence and turn it into life, that's wisdom. That's good. That's what Shabbos means. God tells us 6 days out of the week, it's okay to make yourself more comfortable. Fix your existence. You need a house? Build one. It's too hot? Turn on the air conditioner. It's too cold? Light the fire. You want to eat the food soft and cooked? Cook it. Make it better. Make your existence more comfortable. But 1 day out of the week, stop it. Stop worrying about your existence. Just live. Do only those things that are relevant to your life, not the things you need for your existence. That's good. Now, what happens when a person drinks? What happens when a person is drunk? I mean, you might have heard that what happens when a person is drunk is that they what is the expression? They relax their inhibitions, right? But what inhibitions? Understood correctly, a person who is drunk relaxes their existence. They relax about their existence. Their life doesn't change. How do we know this? How can you tell when a person is drunk? And if they're still standing up straight? How do you know they're drunk? Because when they come to talk to you, they stand a little too close. If they were sober, they'd stand here. When they're drunk, they stand here. Somehow, they lost the sense of space. They don't need so much space. And that's why the couch you have in the living room, the sofa you have in the living room, is built for three, comfortably. That's if they're sober. But people who are drunk, you can have 9 people on that same couch. And they're all comfortable. See, because drunk people don't take up space. If a 10th guy shows up, so they'll squeeze a little. Make room for a 10th guy. What would it be like, 10 drunk people on a couch, sober up at the same time? That's why we say l'chaim. Before you drink, which is going to have the effect of relaxing your existence, we say l'chaim, to life. Not to life instead of death. That's silly. L'chaim, to life, not to existence. Forget existence. Let's live. That's what the l'chaim means. Because so often, we get caught up in our existence at the expense of our lives. So, if you're married, and you love the person you're married to, but you don't like them, the simple solution is, stay drunk. Because when you're drunk, it doesn't bother you that they're stealing your space. An alternative to that, an alternative plan would be humble your existence. If it's about existence, give it away. Let them have it. It will give you life. So when you got married, you understood. We are going to sacrifice our existence because we can make a good life together. And then you forgot. And you can't believe that somebody is occupying your space. And you fight over it? Oh, that's embarrassing and depressing. You're taking your existence way too seriously. No need. Not nice. Give it up. You need space? Take it. What do I need it for? You need more room? Have more room. What do I need it for? It's just a burden. So if you think that every song is about you, your existence is out of control. Not every song is about you. You don't need to occupy every space. It doesn't have to be about you all the time. You need to be busy living. Now let's think about what we teach our children, because that can be really scary. Do we teach our children about life, or do we teach them about existence? What do we tell children? How to brush their teeth? How to cross the street? How to eat well? A balanced diet? How to be safe? How to make a living, which is really just an existence? What do we teach them about life, if anything? We tell them, don't lie. Well, that sounds like a value, a life value. But then we ruin it. We say, don't lie, because if you lie, then nobody will ever believe you, and your existence will be miserable. Share. You got to share with your friends. Sounds good? Then we ruin it. Share with your friends, because then they'll share with you. Go to school, study, pass the test. Sounds good? Then we ruin it. So you'll get a job. So you'll get to a good college. So you'll get a better job. You'll make more money. You'll have a better existence. Then you'll get depressed. Because the people who get depressed are the ones who have comfortable existences. Nobody gets depressed in a third world country. They just get hungry. Only in a comfortable existence do we have the luxury of getting depressed. Like this comedian said, nobody in the ghetto is lactose intolerant. You got milk, you drink it. What are these people who are allergic to food? He said, now you tell us red meat will kill us? Green meat will kill us. Red meat we eat. So when our existence has reached like maximum fulfillment, then we suddenly sit back and say, what was that for? So now what? And if you don't ask it, your children ask it. And you don't know what to say. So they get angry. And the whole cycle starts all over. And you have all of these problems because we confused life with existence. A very painful issue. Quality of life. Pulling the plug. Why should we pull the plug? Well, what kind of quality does his life have anyway? That's a terribly dangerous and immoral question, because it's wrong. When a person is incapacitated, when a person is in a coma, when a person is paralyzed, it's their existence that has been damaged, not their life. Life can't be damaged. Existence comes in many shapes, many forms, many colors, and many flavors. There are people who have terrible existences. There are people who have wonderful existences, and everything in between. But life only comes in one flavor. It's always the same. It's always good. And it's always full. You can't be partly alive. So life cannot be measured in different qualities. It's always sacred, and it's always good, even when existence is compromised and difficult and painful. Because we all know great heroes who had wonderful lives under circumstances that were far from comfortable. Their existence was painful and difficult, and they made a life out of it that is enviable. I asked a man to keep Shabbos. He says, I tried it. I don't need it. How about putting on tefillin? I thought about it. I don't need it. Do you see where the mistake is? What does it mean you don't need it? You don't need it means you can exist without it. Because all needs come from your existence. So if you don't need it, it means it's not necessary for your existence. So if I say, do a mitzvah, keep Shabbos, give tzedakah, put on tefillin, light Shabbos candles, and you say, I don't need it, perfect. That's why you should do it. Because we spend so much time doing things we need, and that's our existence. We should take some time out and do things we don't need. You don't need to give charity to a poor person. You don't need, he needs. When you give him what he needs, you're living. You're not doing your own need. All mitzvahs are that way. God came to us 2,000 years after creation. We were existing quite well. We didn't need any more existence. God came and said, let me give you a Torah. It's not about existence, and you don't need it. But that's life. This is what I need from you. This is what people need from you, what your community needs from you, what your neighbor needs from you. You don't need it, that's correct. This is not about your existence. This is about life. So finally, listen to the profound, powerful meaningfulness of the simple, familiar phrase. We all know it, we all say it, we sing songs about it, and we never appreciated the power of these simple words. And these simple words are, Am Yisrael Chai. You got it? Am Yisrael. You want to describe the Jewish people? It's not complicated. Am Yisrael. What are Jews all about? Chai. Not existence. L'chaim. We are about life. We have always been about life. Existence, God will provide. We have to be busy living. So, l'chaim, to life. If you choose life, then you get to like the people you love. Because you love to give them your existence. You love the fact that they take your space. You love to do things you don't need to do. Because that's life. Then we're alive. If we just take care of our needs, we can't justify that. So when people say, why are we here? That's a good question. When they say, what is the purpose of life? You see, you're confused. The question is, what is the purpose of existence? The answer is life. So when you say, what is the purpose of life? You're verblunget. You're vermischt. Ask the question correctly, you'll get a good answer. What is the purpose of our existence? There's got to be a purpose, because it's embarrassing. So, the answer is one word. L'chaim. That explains it all. Yes? Make sense? L'chaim.
Partner with Rabbi Friedman. Visit itsgoodtoknow.org/support.